All right. Welcome to our Breakfast Club call. Today is Thursday, March 28th, 2024. My name is Pamela Pacheco, and I have the absolute honor, pleasure, and privilege of being your host. If this is your first time you are joining us, welcome. If you are joining us once again, welcome home. I remember when I first started entrepreneurship, I was looking forward to these type of morning mentorship calls, not only because of the information I was going to receive, but because of the inspiration I was going to receive. I've always understood that garbage in is garbage out. Greatness in is greatness out. So kudos to each and every single one of you guys that are setting the tone for your day early in the morning with some positivity, with some inspiration, with some fire. And I am so excited because today I get the honor, pleasure, and privilege of not being the one you're going to get to hear from today in its entirety. And I have the honor to bring up our first guest speaker for the year of 2024, which is a big, big deal because I just don't go around edifying folks, okay? But I am so excited because this is a woman of integrity, a woman of character, a woman of resiliency. She is a woman of power. And as we are ending Women's Month, it is so important for me to give our flowers to the people that deserve them. And she has a former background in law enforcement. She is happily retired. Like, she will let you know a little bit about her story in a second, but she is a queen boss hailing in all the way from Philly. And if you've probably heard the name or you've seen her on stage at our national events, it is because she has been consistently, okay, on the Billboard charts. And right now she is sitting on #1, but month after month, she is one of the top customer acquisitions that we have. And she is just a leader amongst leaders in our secret community. She is a gold agent, but in my world and in so many in her community, she is a queen boss, amazing wife, amazing woman, amazing friend, amazing sister. And she is just tons of fun. To know Lisa is to truly love and appreciate her. Lisa, I am so happy you are here with us. How you doing? How you doing? Oh, look at you, girl. Yes, honey. I love it. How you doing? Good morning.
I'm doing great. Thank you so much, Pam, for giving me the honor to be here with you and to be fired some questions, be fired at with some questions from you. But I count it indeed a joy and an honor just to be able to do life with you. It's so much fun being able to mess with you when I have no witnesses and and to learn from you. It's most people know you as Pam the Plug, but it's just so awesome to be able to know you on a different level as well, to see how, man, the hamsters inside that head that go so many different directions that you can just spit out, answers. Hey, well, we should do this and maybe this. Like, that's a skill set that is invaluable and priceless. And I enjoy being able to just, catch the drippings from the things that just fall from you. So I appreciate you even having me on today.
Thank you. And I don't know why you're trying to make me cry early in the morning, but we're not gonna do that, okay? So keep messing with me. We got the cameras on. But Lisa, thank you so much. I honor you, and your words mean the world to me. And beyond your leadership, you are just such an amazing soul sister. You are such an amazing friend, and I'm honored that I get to call you friend and know you in a capacity beyond business. So welcome. Tell the people a little bit about you. Tell them a little bit about your story. Who is the queen boss from Philly, Lisa Burton?
Well, thank you. And as you did get it right, I appreciate that I am happily retired. I'm married. Actually, it'll be a couple of months. It'll be 26 years that I've been married. I'm born, raised, still live in Philly. I am married to a guy who was retired from law enforcement, retired a couple of years, and now he's back working as a sergeant for University of Penn Police Department. And he is somebody that, we are definitely not the same in our personalities, but we mesh well together. So I enjoy being a wife. I enjoy very much so being retired. And my so re- most people who know me know that I'm retired from policing. I retired in 2021 as a detective for a police department just outside of Philly. Spent most of my time of those 25 years as a detective. But that was my second career. My first career, I was an operating room nurse, 10 of my 12 years of nursing before I transitioned into policing. And I've been somebody who, oh my gosh, I've been traveling ever since I was in my 20s. So with regarding my story, how I got started, it was weird. It's very different than how most people got started in this industry. My husband and I, Denise Robinson, got to give a shout out to my BFF and my business partner. Her and her husband, we were on vacation in the Dominican Republic, and a woman came up to us while Denise and I were chilling in the water, and she started talking about how she travels, and we knew that we had gotten a great price with where we were staying. And she talked about having an even better price. And she was mentioning the name of this company I hadn't heard of. So when we got back to Philly, I called the corporate office of that company, our previous company, and I'm like, look, I pretty much want to join. I don't know anybody. Can you have somebody from Philly call me? And they did, and that's how I ultimately got started. And so that was in 2028. I'm sorry, 2018. And then in 2019, it may not be significant to some people, but for me, it's significant because that's when the tax laws changed. So I was still working full time as a detective. My husband was working full time as a lieutenant for Philly, and there was a cap put on the the taxes that you could write off on the IRS with regard to your city and state taxes. So here we are, we're empty nesters, we're making decent salaries, and we got punched in the face that year when it was time for tax season. And we had to write a check. I didn't like the fact that it had a comma, and I really did not like the number in front of the comma. And I was like, oh, we cannot keep doing this. So we were on another vacation with our previous company, and because we had been on, I think, like two of them, and we were in an environment that was just so new to us. I mean, we'd been traveling for several years, but just the camaraderie, the sense of community that we were feeling, and people were telling us about, hey, you could have a business and or you can do the business side, because we were in the minority. We were just members. Most of the people were doing the business side there. And they were like, well, you know what, you can have these tax deductions because you have business expenses, and you'll be able to, keep more of your money. So I was like, eh, I'll try it. So here's the blessing in that. We got home on a Tuesday. On that Saturday, there was a regional training event. So Marvin and I go. I never did actually say my husband's name. So Marvin, he and I go, and we're like, what do we wear? So we're used to in law enforcement. With training, some people want to be there, some do not, and it's either business casual or it's suits. So here we are in golf shirts and khakis, and we walk in, it's loud music, and people are happy and very friendly, and sneakers and flip-flops and t-shirts. I was like, really? Is we doing it like this? So it was a game changer because I got to hear from two major players that had been flown in to Newark, and I was like clueless to what was going on. So there was a break. It was a woman. I could tell. I don't know what her rank was, but I could just tell from the people around her. She was a heavy hitter, and I was like, you know what? And I had Denise on the phone. I'm like, can you talk to my sister? Like, I don't know. Should she be a member? Should she be a rep? And she grabs the phone, goes into a quick 30-second story, and is like, no, you need to be in her first position. You need to be a rep and get started with her. And when we came home, Denise was like, here, I don't really know what's going on over here. Take my credit card, and yeah, I'll do it. And that's how we got started. So it was, we achieved some success, and then it was like a perfect opportunity to when we transitioned over to Secret, because I was passionate about skincare. And one thing, if I go back a little, with that one training, that's all I had. I had the training, I had a video, and I was almost like ignorance on fire. I was hitting up people, hey, I want to share something with you. And I was doing a whole lot of one-on-ones. And I felt very comfortable with that because we already had some vacation pictures because I'd been on some of those trips. I was playing a video and I was like, hey, do you want to get started with this? So if I speed up and go then transitioning over to Secret, we just have had way more success here. We love to travel, we love the nutrition, but we are just passionate about the skincare. And Denise and I get to build and have a tremendous a lot of fun. And it's cool because, you know, you get to build a business around something that you're passionate about, and making money is cool, but it is way more fun keeping more of your money. And I've been able to tap into the business expenses, which are the tax deductions that have been a game changer. So we went from owing a ridiculous amount to that next year getting back a tax refund. So, you know, I was all in for sure.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So in case you are brand spanking new, I'm going to make sure, because I'm over here taking copious notes, that you guys are picking up what my girl is putting down. Okay. Number one, being at the right place at the right time. My mother used to always say there's no such thing as coincidences. There are God incidences, because God is too intentional to be coincidental. Right. And imagine she was on vacation, okay, and was just open, right? And it's like being at the right place at the right time is one thing, but here's another: recognizing that you are there, right? Recognizing that you are there. And then here's another thing. And if you're brand new, this is huge. And even if you are been with us for a while, because she was so coachable. You know, we have a saying here that says, if you're coachable and teachable, you will be unstoppable. She was so coachable that immediately she got back and they said, hey, this is going on. She's like, I'm there. I'm here to learn. And we're talking about a woman that has an extensive background in law enforcement, a background before that in nursing. Like, this is an educated woman. This is a successful woman. This is for her to owe, just in case y'all don't know, in case y'all in different tax brackets, it's okay, because we have a little bit of everything here. But when somebody usually owes the IRS money, it's because they're very well off financially, okay? It's because she might be on what we call a chicken list, which is those people that you're kind of hesitant to reach out to, or you might be a little scared to reach out to because you're like, man, they're too successful, they're too this or they're too that. I want y'all to kill that story right now, because what she just showed us is that, hey, there's people out there that are just like her that need these tax breaks. So I want us to write down right now who's somebody that you can think of that has a similar background to Lisa. Write them down. Make sure you send out a message today. Make sure you send out a call today, right? And I'm sure that you could think of at least 5 to 10 people that fit that same tax bracket, not only the tax bracket, but that fit that same background, or that they may be just successful. And you may think, hey, they're making a ton of money. They don't need stuff like this. I always see them on vacation. Yeah, but are they writing off them vacations? Are they writing up right? So that is absolutely amazing. Wow, you are just phenomenal. Every time I hear that story, it's just like, man, it is amazing. And if you don't have a pen and paper, this is the call that is not just inspiration, it's not fluff, but you're going to get some practical tools. So make sure you got a pen and paper, because note takers are history makers, okay? So moving on, Lisa, you are a builder. When I edified you this morning, you know, we were talking about, we always are on the phone, but you have been consistently on this billboard. And I want you to just talk a little bit about what are your some of your favorite ways to build. And another thing that you said earlier was like, you know, you're so passionate about the skincare. That is a clue. You probably joined our lifestyle club because this is the beautiful thing that we have, right? We have 3 different pillars. And I say that the community and the business is a pillar in its own. Those are 2 more pillars. But when it comes to our lifestyle membership, we have the pillar of skincare, right? We also have the pillar of nutrition, and we have the pillar of travel and lifestyle. This is what makes this so great, because you can major in one and minor in the other. But who do you know right now? Maybe you got started because you're just passionate about travel. Maybe you got started because you're passionate about nutrition. But imagine if you got somebody that was just passionate about backwards, that was just passionate about skincare, that because they're passionate about that, they're killing it. I'm just saying that was a hit. That was bonus training. But yes, Lisa, so talk to us a little bit about what are some of your favorite ways to build.
Well, thanks. And that's a great question. One of the ways that is a favorite to me is definitely doing vendor events with Denise Robinson and I. I think sometimes that we have more fun than the people that come up to do demos at our table. Where we differ just a little bit is that I love doing one-on-ones. I love being able to connect with somebody, and it's funny, not to geek out too much, but I'm a Big Al fan. And Big Al Schreider talks about the different levels of communication, and the one from going to least effective to most effective. And he says text messaging is least effective. The top or the most effective one is in person over food. So I love to eat, so it works out real well. So I'm often inviting people to meet with me one-on-one, either at Panera's or Corner Bakery or Starbucks, and always throw in the fact that it's on me, because the sister is always looking for maximizing on business expenses because they are my tax deductions. So I would say number one is one-on-ones. Secondly is the vendor events, because here's the cool thing. We get to acquire customers from people who didn't even know prior to meeting us, they didn't even know that we existed on the planet. So there's what, 7 billion people in the world. So there are plenty of people that we don't yet know whose hands we're going to hook up and we're going to change their lives.
I love that. I love that. Thank you. Thank you so much. So here's another thing. And you talk often and you refer to that, you refer to Big Al a lot. And you're always either calling me for a testimonial, whether you are, in person with somebody, the majority are always in person, because I love that you mentioned that, because yes, I do believe that it is the most effective, because nothing beats like this energy. Like high tech is amazing, but it will never compare to high touch. It will never compare to this one-on-one. And I feel like one of the greatest things that COVID did was that it allowed us to build online, because yes, we're living in a digital era and so many people. However, here's one thing I do know. It also was a crutch for a lot of people, because now it's like people don't want to get outside. They don't want to go get in front of people. And I know one thing, anybody that I sit down with face to face, they not telling me no, just like they not telling you no. They probably be like, not right now. But they're not telling you no. Why? Because it's that energy. And it's when you're talking about sales, when you're talking about business, when you're talking about customer acquisition, when you're talking about growth, it is always that in person. It's a transfer of energy. That's really what it comes down to. You can talk to, the greatest of the greats, from corporate sellers to all types of high level impact and leadership. It is a transfer of energy. So it's, do I know you? Do I like you? And do I trust you? So if people know you, like you, and trust you, they'll do business with you. But a lot of times it's like we're depending on, whether it's online or social media. And, I am a brand and business coach, so I'm an advocate for digital building. However, I also understand that it's a slower process. I also understand that it is a tool, just like Zoom is a tool, but nothing compares like this in person. I absolutely love it. So talk to me about what are some of those ways that you love to launch, and talk to me a little bit about what that looks like when you are launching a new business, when you are launching a new person.
Cool. So we do it a couple of ways, and I'm going to say I agree with you as well. The two favorite are in person and vendor events, but we also do Zooms as well, because sometimes it's just impractical geographically to be able to meet with somebody in person. But when launching, we do spa parties, and whether they're in person or on Zoom, and it's still cool and covering everything, because everybody's getting a demo, as well as they're getting to see the business side or the bigger side of beyond just the products by either I'm using slides. I used to be heavy on using a video, and a certain unnamed person who put a foot on my back and kept talking about, oh, well, you know, they got these things called slides. So, you know, I've leaned more toward doing slides as well, but it's cool to be able to do both. Because here's keeping it 100. Here's what really pushed outside of Pam and her fact, man, I'm trying to combine magnificent and fantastic. Magnificent, I don't know. Outside of Pam, here's the thing that I don't like being uncomfortable, but who does? But I really don't like being uncomfortable, and I'm struggling my way out of it. We were doing a spa party for one of our new agents, and the internet was not working. And I'm all in on ready to do a video. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So thankfully, I did have some slides and I had to walk my way through it. But here's the thing, nobody knew what I was missing or wasn't supposed to say. So it still went well, but I was like, this will never happen again. And it was weird. Jared Ojeda sent me slides. He and I had not had a conversation. And after that, he sent me these slides. I'm like, oh, dude, God really used you because I really need these. And then that was a game changer. And now I'm way more comfortable doing it because it's pretty much, it's like the slides are just supporting what I've already been saying.
I love that. I love that. And we kind of went into that after you talked about, you know, your ways to build. And however, I kind of want to go back a little bit because you have a really powerful way of inviting. And let me just take some of the gems that you said from this really, really quick before you answer that question. She said, it's one thing to be uncomfortable. Like, type of you in the chat if you've ever felt uncomfortable. Type of you in the chat if you've ever felt uncomfortable. Yes, yes, yes. I see them coming in. Make sure you're sending it to everyone, right? Because we're not the only ones. But it's another thing to be uncomfortable and then have to struggle your way out of it. See, one of the things that you also said was that when that happened, see, everything, your glory zone is outside of your comfort zone. If we're being honest, right? Like Lisa says, keeping it 100. And the greatest thing that you can do as not only as a business owner, as a builder, as a person of influence, as a person that is a kingdom builder, as a person that wants to make an impact in the world, as a leader, is stay ready so you don't got to get ready. And taking action and understanding, like you said, shout out to JON because he just took my words out of my mouth. Champions adjust. And you had to adjust in the time of, in the moment. And it was like, okay, she's like, well, that's never going to happen to me again. And I know it wasn't all the way maybe to your level of excellence, because all that shows is if you have any type of, you know, concern when you're going to present, it's because you care. It's because you care, right? And that's a great thing. It's a great thing. You care. It shows you care. It shows your heart is in it. And at the end of the day, that's the most important thing, that your heart is in it. And another thing that you said was, they're not going to know what I said. They're not going to, like, hello, like you just took a lot of people to church with that. Why do I say that, Lisa? Because sometimes, and I remember being guilty of this too, sometimes, how many of us, type of C in the chat if you're like, I care about what other people think, or I care of how I show up, or sometimes I care about if I sound like this, or if I'm going to sound like that, or if I'm going to say this has gluten and it doesn't, or if I'm going to say our skincare is from the sea of dead minerals instead of Dead Sea minerals, or I'm going to care if if I don't sound like an expert in my eyes. But guess what? You got to show up as the authority. And that's what I love that you did. You showed up as the authority that you are. You said, you know what? I am going to own it. And leaders, we always say that, right? Leaders are not determined by rank. Leaders are not determined by position. Leaders are not determined by the number of customers or agents that you have in your binary, or how many times you go on stage, or how many people. Leaders are determined by those who take initiative. Leadership are those that are able to say, hey, I care, but I'm going to bring in certainty to an environment where there isn't any. And that is what you did. And you owned that moment. And man, that just catapulted, right? And here's what you also did. You went into another level of leadership, because now you have your team. And whenever we do that we're uncomfortable, right? Whenever we do something that makes us a little uncomfortable, now we're growing. Now we're stretching. But here's also what you did. You lift the lid. You lift the lid because now you gave permission to your team to step up. You gave permission to people in that audience to say, hey, if she could do it, I could do it, right? The number one thing that people fear more than death is public speaking. But you got to own it. And I love that for you. And I love that for us, because I remember when that happened. And I remember, and shout out to Jared, because I remember the power of, and that's another, beautiful thing, is the power of our community, right? The power of our community. And that's why I said it's a pillar in its own, because there's people that just need to be around great people. There's people that just need to be around love, around light. In the world of doom and gloom, we consistently bring each other up instead of bringing each other down. And iron truly does sharpen iron. And sometimes, your people that are on your team could tell you something all the time, but it takes somebody else to kind of just drip that and encourage you and empower you. So you could also say, hey, that person believes in me too. Wow, that person thinks highly of me too. That person wants me to win too. Maybe it's not just this person telling me I'm great because they're with me all the time, or they love me, right? And that's why I love our community. So shout out to you on that as well. So talk to us a little bit. Let's go backwards a little bit, but talk to me about, because we spoke about how you're launching, but talk to me about ways when you're inviting, what does that look like for you? Because you're inviting people out, you're building through and lunch, you're building through vendor events, you're building through launches. But when you're inviting, I love that every time we're on a call, you're like, yeah, so this happened and I was here, and then now they're going to come and check this out. And now I was just like, you are such a beautiful connector. And I love that you have such a way to do it with grace, with elegance and posture at the same time. You never thirsty. You may be a little hungry, but you never thirsty. And I love how you show up and show out every single time. So talk to us a little bit about what that looks like, Lisa.
Well, thank you. Oh my gosh, you've given me a whole lot of stuff to have to live up to. Thank you for all the kind words. And you know what? I don't know. I'd rather be able to be assured of what I'm going to say by practicing it, and then be able to then go replicate it in a real conversation. So I'll give you a perfect example, because I'm big on, as you know, I am Big Al Schreider all the way. Kim Gonzalez used to tease me and say, is that dude your side, John? Because you could tell Marvin you cheating on him with Big Al Schreider. But he had some language, because I've read a couple of his books, I've listened to them, a couple of them over and over again, and just kind of extracted stuff that, just, massaged it a little bit so it sounded like me. So I'll give you an example. I saw a guy I hadn't seen in a while. Actually, he was retired from a police chief from a small police department. I knew him back when he worked in Philly as a lieutenant. And we're both retired. So he's like, hey, what are you doing in retirement? And I make sure I always keep things light. I'm not into being sold hard, and I'm definitely not going to be a hard seller. So I'm like, yeah, I am happily retired. That was the best adult decision I have ever made, ever in my life. And I'm like, and I love the time freedom. And I have an online business that I have a lot of fun with. If somebody says, what's your online business? That I'll go through that door. If they don't, I'm not shoving it down their face. It ain't that deep. So he's like, oh, what's your online business? So I'm like, you know what? We do a couple of amazing things. I lean into two of them. I show people how to have smoother, younger looking skin, because nobody wants their face or their body to look older than what they really are. And when it comes to travel, I show people how to have champagne lifestyle on a soda budget. I am not a travel agent, not throwing shade, but I belong to a VIP invite only travel and lifestyle club. And I have nothing to do with a timeshare. And again, not throwing shade. Well, most people know with timeshare, you spend a lot and travel little. And we're kind of like the opposite of that. We get to spend less so we can travel more. And I've been able to help a lot of people have fun. If you ever like to know about it, I'll be glad to tell you.
I love that. I love that. And y'all see how cool she is? She's like cooler and smoother than like the other side of the pillow. You know what I'm saying? Like just not like just cool with it. And I love that. And here's another thing, Lisa. Were you always like this? Or has it taken time to get where you're at right now?
For in this industry is 1,000% taking time to get where I am. Like with policing, I'm used to having to talk to people I don't know, more so in a whole nother purpose. I'm trying to get you to, particularly if you're a suspect, I want you to sign that statement we just typed out that yes, you did this and you're admitting to it. So it's the talking to people is the same, but the reason is way different. So it's a whole lot of growth. And I know you're a fan of Ed Milet, and I am too. And I remember him saying something that when being successful, it's you go from awkward stage to the mechanical stage to the natural stage. So it's been a transition to be able to have that, whatever that is, 40, 45, 75, 90 seconds, have that flow and then not sound mechanical is because I've said it over and over and over and over and over again to myself.
It becomes unconscious competence, right? And it's like, and it's beautiful because I've consistently seen your growth, and seeing you just consistently just lead is remarkable. It's inspiring, and we're here for it. And if you're that person that's like, man, I feel a little awkward, it's okay, right? It's okay, because guess what? You go from, like she said, from the awkward to then like the mechanical, and the mechanical sometimes, and I can even relate to this, is like sometimes you feel like I sound a little robotic, right? I mean, I'm sounding too much like my training, but however, when you trust your training, right, you then get to that natural state. I love that, Lisa. Thank you so much for sharing. So as we continue with this, with my series of questions for you, talk to us about what keeps you consistent. I mean, number one on the leaderboard January, number one on the leaderboard March, top 10 on the leaderboard in February. We could go back to the last 3 years, and you have always been consistently persistent. You're always on the top of the charts. And not only are you always on the top of the charts, you're always on the top of your game. You're always on the top of leading. So talk to us about what keeps Lisa Burton consistent.
You know what, I'm going to say we, because I know Denise feels the same way. We absolutely love the skincare, and we love that's our driver. That's 100% what we lead with. We show everything, but that's what we lead with. Unless somebody says something so obvious that it's like, skincare needs to be second, and usually that thing that's obvious would be travel, and then that switches, and that's the thing that I'm leading with. And again, that would be like on a one-on-one situation. But it's the fact that I tease and say with people too, because we know, Pam, from your vast experience, there are many people that have a negative connotation when it comes to being a salesperson. So I kind of speak to that elephant in the room. If that's a sense that, sometimes I think you can just feel that if people are feeling like you're being salesy, and I'll say, look, I don't really consider myself a salesperson. Yeah, there's sales involved, but a salesperson is the guy who is the Honda salesperson, and he's driving a Toyota. He hasn't even bought in. So, we are bought in 1,000% on all three pillars that we have: the skincare, nutrition, and the travel. So it's easy to be consistent because it's something that we believe in, products that we use, all three pillars. And it's having fun being able to share something. Now, I know I'm being either helping somebody or enhancing them with whatever pillar. And it's way more fun than what I used to do full time. Like, it ain't fun for nobody to be laying on the operating room table. Something ain't right. Or if you're sitting beside me or across from me, whether you're a victim, witness, or suspect, yeah, I may be being a help and adding value, but something ain't right. But with this, it's always fun, it's always upbeat, and it's almost hard to put into words, but that's what keeps me consistent, because it's so much fun. And a system needs tax deductions.
I know that's right. I love that. I love that. And again, it goes back to, hey, I love this. And it's so encouraging, because maybe you're at a place in your business that you're like, well, I really love this aspect of it, and it may not be going as fast as I want it to go, and as as big as I want it to go, and I may not be getting the traction that I want, but what you love, right? When you do something for the love of it, people will feel that. And a lot of people do not connect with you, or do not connect, or are not buying from you. It's not because they're not buying the products, it's that they're not buying you. So people want to buy, but they don't want to be sold. However, when you can just show up as your authentic self, and you can just show up and just be like, I love this. And it's like, I know Lisa, so, and I know that she brings her to every environment she's in, whether she is talking to a law enforcement vendor event like she was at yesterday, or she is talking to, a group of her sorority sisters, or she is talking a group to church folk. She shows up as herself. She shows up with her love, and that's what she leads with. And I encourage us all to say, hey, I'm just going to show up with what I love. I'm going to show up with what I love the most about our community. Maybe what you love the most is not the skincare. That's okay. Maybe what you love the most is the nutrition. That's okay. Maybe what you love the most is the experiences around the world. That's okay. Be encouraged. Maybe it's the community. Maybe it's the business. That's okay. Lead with what it is that you love, and that will show up in itself. I absolutely love it. So talk to us about an exciting story that you have experienced from building. Tell us a little bit about that.
You know what? Perfect timing, because yesterday was a perfect example of being at a vendor event. I was there solo because Denise had to work, and usually, we're together when we're doing vendor events. So it was, I think it was pretty big. I think it was between 400 and 500 women in law enforcement. Knowing one of the things that, and I believe that you would agree, knowing what you can leverage and maximize on that. So, and I know how cops can be, whether they're females or males, they can be kind of standoffish, but finding something that is connected, that can connect you, that's huge. So quickly I'm saying, hey, I'm telling them what my name is, asking what their name is. And I'm like, we actually have something in common. I'm happily retired from policing, and, tell them what I'm retired from, blah, 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 blah. And then ask them how many years have they been in law enforcement, because they were across all areas of policing. It wasn't just police officers. There were corrections, sheriffs, people working for the prosecutor's office, people working for other agencies like federal agencies, and all level of supervision as well. So, but the thing that could connect us was law enforcement, and it sent that was helping to be a rapport builder. And then going right into the demo, we always keep it light and say, look, I'm gonna hook your hands up and change your life. And some people are like, yeah, okay, I'm in for changing my life. So this is the second time I've done that conference. And a woman who was beside me was a vendor last year. And she said to me, while we had a little bit of a break while they were in their training session, she was like, man, every time I looked over at your table, you were swamped. I'm like, I'm like loving it. I've mastered being able to do 2 demos at one time during the like initially doing the salt and oil scrub. Yesterday we were doing 3 people at a time.
Wow, she said, I'm not only, she's showing off, y'all. She's like, I've mastered not only doing 2 people at a time, now I'm doing 3 people at a time. I love that. And again, it's showing up as your authentic self, it's showing up with what you love. And did you always know how to do like 2 demos at one time? Because I don't think I even know how to do that. Did you learn? Did it take you some time to learn that?
You know what? I think that was kind of learning on like on the job training. It was like, we have so many, we've been at events where there's multiple people coming up to us and they know each other, like 2 girlfriends come up or, a boyfriend and a girlfriend. And we're like, hey, so not to have one waiting, we're like, hey, come on, we can do this together. Put your hands over the bowl together. There's plenty of room. And it just like, that just happened, indirectly.
I love that. I love that. And again, you're just having so much fun with what you're doing and you're so passionate about what you're doing. So it's showing up. Can you talk to us about what are some exciting events that you have coming up?
Oh, yes. Uh, I'm excited about this. We are doing it. Denise and I are facilitating an escape to southern Italy. We're going to be going from August 5th to the 11th. We have like 61 people coming with us. I am so excited because thanks to, again, Pam and her coaching, it was more so like putting a foot on my back and telling me, Lisa, you have to go live. You have to go live on Facebook with this. But you know what? Although that was indeed out of my comfort zone, and Denise went live as well on another day, that was out of my comfort zone because I do like one live a year when we're spinning a wheel to see who's going to win around Black Friday for our, we do a contest for our customers. But this was invaluable, leaning on Pam's expertise when it comes to branding and marketing. That was huge to go live, talk about this, how we have different excursions going to Sorrento and Amalfi Coast. It's not all inclusive, but we have multiple meals included. It's going to be a phenomenal time. I'm excited. It's been since, I think the last time I was in Italy, Denise and I were in Rome back in 2008, I think. So I'm excited that this is another part of Italy, southern Italy. I love Italian food. And the cool thing is, was Pam suggesting you need to do an email campaign. And we did it with all of our customers. And so there are so many people that are coming that are not Club Secret members, some are our customers, but some are customers have invited other people who they pretty much don't even know, they haven't touched the product and they don't even know anything about Club Secret.
I love that, Lisa. And if you guys are like, man, I want to get on this trip, we're not going to confirm this right now, but there's a very, 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 very strong possibility that you're going to see this on our Club Secret website in the next 24 to 48 hours, and that there's going to be some extra availability for spaces on this trip. So if for whatever reason you want to get on the trip, I would say reach out to Lisa, myself, or Denise immediately and get on the waiting list, because as soon as this is opened or we have more availability, or before you see it on the Club Secret website, you definitely want to make sure that you are on that waiting list, because it is first come, first serve. So yes, 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 this is going to be absolutely incredible. And I'm so proud of you. And, I can't take the credit because you're coachable, right? And if you had not been so consistently persistent, if you had not been so enamored with the products and being able to lead with what you love and being able to build the way that is most suitable and comfortable for you and that you love to experience and bless our people and impact community, we would have not had a base to even do an email campaign for. And I love that because imagine, I can't even fathom, right? Imagine if you didn't have that customer base that we could have done that email campaign to. We reached out, y'all, and she's not going to say this to y'all, but I am. We reached out to over 300 people. Okay. Over 300 people on her customer database. Why? Because she has been so consistently persistent with that. And shout out to Denise as well, because Denise is super coachable as well. And you guys are such a dynamic duo because of such grace and such love that you guys pour into each other, pour into other people, and how you just consistently show up with what it is that excites you and what it is that you love to do about it. So as we're getting ready to wrap up here, talk to us about a training story, and talk to us simultaneously about the importance of training.
So yeah, you hit the nail on the head, putting training and importance in the same sentence, because they are so important. Look, my first opportunity at training was being able to go to an RTE and clueless to what I was getting involved in. And I'm excited because I'm going to be at the RTE on April 13th in Newark. We're bringing some teammates as well. And we know that Eric G and JAON are going to absolutely kill it. So I am super excited about. It's just a couple of weeks away, but training helps, whether it's the regional training and definitely the national trainings. It gives us a bigger picture, allows us to see the bigger picture of Secret. It's more than just the city or the state that you're in. I love the fact that we get to network with people maybe that we normally don't get to see or only see at training events, because that's invaluable as well. And well, here's two things that have stuck with me, both said by two different seven-figure earners, and one of them from the stage. One of them was the most successful people, the most skilled and the most trained people win. That's you. So you're not getting the skills built up. You're not getting the most skilled and most success. What the heck did I just say? The most skilled and the most trained people. So you're not going to get trained. You're not going to get skills if you aren't outside of what you do within a smaller group, but going to training where you're learning from those who have already done it. They've already are massively successful. And another one was, it was once said by a seven-figure earner that you're going to hear, you keep coming because every time you come, you're different than the last time that you came. You're a different person. You've grown somehow. You've been enlightened somehow. And one of the things that was said that stuck with me was, coming from stage, from a seven-figure earner. So here's a clue. They probably know what you're talking about. You need to be a student of the industry. You're in this industry, you need to be a student of this industry. And it was soon after that it was like a godsend. I just stumbled onto Big Al Schreider and started reading his books and listening to him. And they really have tailored the language, because how you say things, what words you use are very important. And that's one thing I like about him, his practicalness, that a lot of what I say and how I say it is because I learned it. So I'm not that ingenious to be coming up with some of the things I say and how I say them. I just learn them and replicate them.
I absolutely love that. Thank you so much, Lisa, for blessing us. I love that. The most skilled and the most trained people are the most successful. And absolutely, you got to be a student of the industry and learn it and replicate it. And it's like, if you, again, you started off the call with this: right place, right time. You were at the right place at the right time when you got invited into the industry. You were at the right place at the right time when you got those gems. You were at the right place at the right time, because the more you grow, the more you're able to learn, and the more you're able to help others grow too, because this is not only a business, but this is a sport. This is a blessing, the blessing that keeps on giving. This is the secret that does not need to be a secret. This is the community that more people need to be a part of. It may not be the business for everybody, even though they don't know all the benefits of the tax write-offs and over 200 plus benefits of having a home-based business, and why today more than ever you need to have a home-based business, but I digress. However, more people need love and light. More people need to grow, because in life, if we're not growing, we're just dying. So shout out to you, Lisa. I absolutely love and appreciate you beyond words. Thank you so much for blessing us. The chats have been going crazy. So much value, y'all. Type of V in the chat. Y'all got some value. Lisa, I'm gonna let you pretty much end the call with whatever you have in your heart, whatever any parting words that you would want to share. Thank you again.
Well, again, thank you so much for this opportunity. If there's, I don't know. I think that we can overthink things, or some people, I should say, can overthink things. And I think if we lead with what you enjoy, what you're passionate about, what you can have fun with, that comes through. And your business, I remember Jesse saying one thing, you see somebody like come into Secret and they're flying up the ranks real quick. They did the work somewhere else. And they built a network somewhere else or relationships somewhere else. So it's kind of like what I think you mentioned earlier about being, like, paraphrasing what you said, being just who you are and not comparing yourself to somebody else, because we don't know what they have brought. That was very freeing for me to hear that, because I'm like, how the heck does this person have like this massive success? Like, what the heck am I doing? But it's like you said, I so agree with you. Running your own race, whatever that looks like. And I think one of the things that has been helpful to me is to know, like, particularly, like, I'll go back to vendor events for people who, whether they're doing a one-on-one or a vendor event, if it's a concern, oh, they told me no, or as you said, not now, it doesn't matter. Like, there's 7 billion people on the planet. That you weren't my customer, you weren't my teammate when we first sat down, so it doesn't matter. There's always somebody else. And I think that that's the thing, that one of the things that has continued to have it be fun, because there's always somebody else to show, somebody else to engage with, somebody else to just have fun, because so many different people, we get to bring joy or laughter to them that maybe they aren't finding somewhere else, where maybe their job isn't exciting, or they are disgruntled for whatever reason. But they know, particularly if we're coming to us and they're coming to our table for a vendor event, that they're going to be, they don't know it, but they're going to be laughing at some point, and we're going to be having fun. So we get to enjoy bringing light, bringing fun, bringing some levity to people's lives. And how can you beat it? To be able to do something that you're passionate about, have fun with it, and make some money, and get to keep some more of your money.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much. Yes, yes, yes. I agree. Make sure that you are having fun. You're not in competition with anyone else, but you are only in competition with who you were and what you did yesterday. And if you have not registered for our next training event going down April 13th in a city near you, man, you just heard from one of the top leaders, right? One of the number one on the Billboard charts, right? The most consistent people, the people that are having fun and that are learning and growing. Get registered, secretdirectevents.com. Again, that is secretdirectevents.com. Thank you again, Lisa, so much for blessing us. And the breakfast has been served. Great day, and God bless everyone.